It's the middle of summer. You climb into your car, you crank the air conditioning, and it just wheezes out lukewarm air while you sit there melting. So you brace yourself, figuring it's time for an expensive trip to the shop. But here's what almost nobody tells you. A huge number of weak AC complaints aren't a broken system at all. They're caused by simple, cheap things you can fix yourself in your own driveway. Some of them cost nothing and take less than 5 minutes with stuff you already own. I'm Art Vance. I ran an independent repair shop outside Detroit for over 20 years. And I can tell you, people walked through my door convinced their AC system was dying. Convinced they needed a new compressor, a full recharge, the works. Most of the time, that wasn't it. The real problem was something sitting right there under the hood that nobody had ever shown them. A clogged grill, a dirty filter, a button they'd been using wrong the whole time. Today, I'm going to walk you through the full lineup. Easiest wins first, and I'll be straight with you about which tricks genuinely work and which popular ones are just myths that waste your money. Ignore the wrong thing here, and a free fix can turn into a repair bill of $1,000 or more. Sometimes a wrecked compressor that runs you over $2,000 to replace. Now, one honest promise right up front. I'm not going to tell you a sealed AC system needs constant topping up, and I'm not going to push you toward a fix you don't need. Where the real answer is, this one's for a professional. I'll say so plainly. Knowing when not to do it yourself is what saves you from the expensive mistake. And stick around to the end, because I'm going to show you the 2 things you should never, ever do to your own AC system. One of them is illegal in a lot of places, and people do it all the time thinking they're being clever. Let's turn your car back into an icebox. 9. Clear the windshield base air intake. Let's start with the one almost nobody even knows exists. You've owned this car for years. You park it under the same tree every day, maybe without thinking twice about it. But there's a vent you've probably never looked at, hidden under a plastic grill at the base of your windshield, right where the glass meets the hood. That's where your car pulls in fresh outside air before it ever reaches your AC system. Park under trees long enough, and that vent fills up. Leaves, seed pods, road grit, it all settles in there and traps moisture. And a damp, dark, enclosed space is exactly where mold likes to grow. That's very often the source of that musty smell that hits you the second you switch the AC on. It's not a broken system smell. It's a clogged vent smell. Here's where it comes from. Mechanically, engineers put that intake low and hidden for a reason. It keeps rain out of the airflow path. Nobody designed it to trap leaves. That's just a side effect of where it has to sit. But it means it needs occasional clearing, and your owner's manual buries that detail somewhere around page 200 if it mentions it at all. The fix costs you nothing but a few minutes. Pop the grill up. On most cars, it just lifts off or unclips by hand, and clear out what's sitting in there by hand or with a soft brush. If you've already got that musty smell, there's a deeper fix coming for that in a moment when we get to the cabin filter. That one's easy and it's free. The next one's about where you park, and it's costing some of you more than you'd think. 8. Park in the shade and use a sunshade. Now, the next one is about prevention, and it's bigger than most people realize. You park in the same lot every day, no shade in sight, and figure the AC will just deal with it once you're inside. Here's what's actually happening while that car sits there. A vehicle parked in direct sun can climb dramatically hotter inside than the air outside, easily into oven territory within half an hour. I've measured it myself sitting in cars on my own lot back in Detroit. It's not an exaggeration. The hotter that cabin gets before you ever start the engine, the harder your AC has to fight to bring it back down. And that means more strain on the compressor, more fuel burned, and a system working overtime just to undo the damage the sun already did. The fix is about as simple as it gets. Park in the shade whenever you genuinely can, and when you can't, use a cheap fold-out sunshade across the windshield. That sunshade alone knocks a real measurable chunk off the cabin temperature, so your AC is starting from a much cooler baseline instead of fighting an oven. Tinting your windows within the legal limit where you live helps the same way. Less heat getting in means less work for the system to undo. It sounds almost too simple to matter. But less heat in every single day adds up to less wear on a compressor over the years, and that compressor is the most expensive part of this whole system to replace. Next one's about what you do the moment you actually get in that hot car, and it's where one popular trick is quietly wasting your gas. 7 windows down, then recirculate. So you just got in that hot car, and your instinct is to sit there with it running, AC on full blast, letting it pre-cool for 10 minutes before you actually drive off. It works, but it's wasteful, and there's a faster way. Here's the better move. The second you get into a baking hot car, roll the windows down, turn the fan on, and just start driving. For the first minute or so, that lets the genuinely furnace-hot trapped air blast straight out the windows while the AC starts working underneath it. A moving car ventilates a lot faster than a parked one ever will. Once the air coming out of the vents actually feels cool, roll the windows back up and let the AC take over properly. You'll be cold faster, and you won't have burned fuel sitting still to get there. Now, once you're cooling down, use the recirculation button and use it the right way. It's the one with a little curved arrow inside a car outline on your dash. Most of the time, your AC is pulling in hot air from outside and cooling it from scratch over and over. Switch on recirculation, and instead, it's recooling air that's already cool inside the cabin. That's a much easier job, so the car gets cold faster and the system works less hard to keep it that way. It also keeps outside exhaust fumes out, which matters in traffic or a tunnel. One catch: don't leave it on, recirculate forever with the windows up. Over a long drive, that sealed-in air goes stale, and in humid weather, your windows can fog. Recirculate to cool down fast, then switch back to fresh air now and then. Next one's a sound you might already be hearing and not paying attention to. 6. Check your drive belt. Now, this next one isn't about the AC system directly, it's about what's actually turning it. Your AC compressor doesn't run on its own. It's spun by the engine through a single rubber belt. Most cars call it the serpentine belt, looped around several pulleys at the front of the engine. If that belt is worn cracked or starting to slip, the compressor can't spin the way it's supposed to, and your AC suffers for it, even though nothing about the AC system itself is broken. A slipping belt usually announces itself before it fails completely. Listen for a squeal, especially right when you start the car or when you first switch the AC on. That's often the belt struggling to grip. With the engine off and cool, you can take a look at it yourself. Check for cracks running across the ribs, fraying along the edges, or a smooth glazed shine where it should look matty and textured. Any of those are signs it's on its way out. Here's why this one gets missed so often. The belt isn't part of the AC system in anyone's mind, not the owner's, not even some quick lube shops that only look at fluids. So it gets ignored until it snaps. And by then, it's not just your AC that's affected. That belt usually drives your alternator and power steering too. The part itself is comparatively cheap. Catching a worn belt early is one of the few checks here that protects more than just your AC. It protects the whole front of your engine. Next one's about a fan you've probably never actually looked at running. 5. Make sure your cooling fans are spinning. Here's a pattern a lot of people notice but never quite figure out. Your AC blows ice cold on the highway, but the second you're stuck in traffic, it goes warm. That's not your imagination, and it's not your AC system being inconsistent. It points to one specific part. The electric cooling fans mounted right behind the condenser that grill up front we'll get to in a moment. While you're moving, the air coming through the front of the car does the job of carrying heat away on its own. But the moment you slow down or stop, there's no airflow coming through naturally anymore. That's exactly when those electric fans are supposed to kick in and pull air through for you. When they don't, because one's failed or the wiring's gone or a relay's burned out, your AC loses its ability to dump heat the second you're not moving. Highway cold, traffic warm. That's the signature. Checking this takes about 2 minutes. Start the car, put the AC on full, and after it's been running a few minutes, just look through the grill at the front of the car to see whether the fan or fans back there are actually spinning. If they're sitting still while the AC is on and the engine's warm, that's very likely your answer. This is one of those problems that gets blamed on a dying AC system constantly, when really it's an electrical fault sitting one part away from where everyone's looking. Next one's not under the hood at all. It's a small box hiding behind your glove box, and almost nobody's ever touched theirs. 4. Replace your cabin air filter. This is the one I'd call the best small upgrade in this entire list, and most owners have never touched it once. There's a small filter, usually tucked just behind your glove box, that cleans every bit of air coming through your vents, dust, pollen, road grime. All of it gets caught there before it reaches you. Over years of driving, that filter clogs up solid. And here's the part people don't connect. A clogged filter chokes the airflow coming out of your vents, so even a perfectly healthy AC system ends up pushing out a weak, feeble breeze. You start blaming the compressor for a problem that's actually just a piece of paper full of dust. It's also a prime spot for mold to take hold, which ties straight back to that musty smell we talked about earlier with the windshield vent. Different location, same root cause, trapped moisture. No airflow mold finds a home. The good news is this is one of the easiest jobs in your entire car. On most vehicles, you pop open the glove box. There's a small tray or clip right behind it, and the old filter slides straight out, while the new one slides straight in. It takes about 5 minutes, start to finish. A quick search for your car's make and model will show you exactly where yours sits, since the tray location varies slightly between manufacturers. Fresh filter, stronger airflow, cleaner air coming into the cabin. For the cost of the part alone, it's one of the highest value 5 minutes you'll ever spend on this car. That one's common. The next one I only catch because I spent 20 years finding it in other people's cars first. I had a customer once who came in, convinced his whole AC system was failing, said he'd already been quoted for a new compressor at another shop. I popped his glove box, pulled the cabin filter, and it was packed solid gray with dust you couldn't see through it. New filter, $5, 5 minutes. He drove off with ice-cold air and a compressor he never needed to replace. Let's keep going. 3. Check your engine coolant. This next one sounds completely unrelated to your AC. It isn't. Here's the connection nobody explains. Most modern cars are programmed to automatically shut the AC compressor off the moment the engine starts running too hot. It's a protective measure built in deliberately, so an overheating engine doesn't get pushed harder by the extra load of running the compressor. And engines run hot for a very common reason: they're low on coolant. So you can end up with a car that suddenly blows warm air from the AC. For a reason that has absolutely nothing to do with the AC system itself. The computer simply made a decision to protect the engine, and cutting the compressor was part of that decision. If your AC quits on you and you notice your temperature gauge creeping up at the same time, that's not a coincidence. Check your coolant level first with the engine cold, before you assume anything's wrong with the AC. Pop the hood. Find the coolant reservoir. It's usually a translucent plastic tank with level markings molded right into the side, and see where the level sits against those marks. It's a 60-second check that can completely explain what looks like a mysterious AC failure. And low coolant is its own serious problem worth catching early, regardless. Let an engine run consistently low and hot, and you're looking at damage that has nothing to do with your AC, and a lot more to do with the engine underneath it. Now back to the heart of this system, the part doing most of the actual work. 2. Clean the condenser. This is the single most effective free fix in this entire list, and almost nobody thinks to do it. Your AC works by pulling heat out of the cabin and dumping it outside through a part called the condenser. A thin radiator-like grid mounted right at the very front of your car, ahead of the engine, ahead of everything. It sits directly in the airflow on purpose, because that's how it sheds heat. But sitting there also means it catches everything coming at it: dust, road grime, leaves, and a thick layer of dead bugs baked right onto the fins over years of driving. When that grid gets clogged, it physically can't dump heat anymore. And an AC system that can't release heat outside can't make cold air inside, no matter how hard the compressor works trying to compensate. Worse, it strains the whole system, fighting a losing battle, which is exactly the kind of strain that shortens a compressor's life. The fix costs nothing but a few minutes. With the engine off and cool, gently rinse the front of the condenser with a garden hose. Moderate pressure, never a high-pressure jet, because those fins are thin aluminum and bend easily under force. If you can reach it, rinse from the engine side outward, pushing debris back out the way it came in. Brush off anything stubborn and baked on by hand. Let it dry, and a lot of the time you'll feel the difference in your vents almost immediately. In my shop, this one fix alone resolved more "my AC got weak" complaints than anything else on this list. If you've learned something new so far, drop a like, because the last one is the one most people completely overlook, and it's the one that actually wrecks compressors. 1. The refrigerant truth. Now the last one. And this is where the cheap advice out there goes badly wrong, and where I've watched people turn a small $50 leak into a wrecked compressor and a 4-figure repair bill. Here's the truth. Almost nobody hands you straight. Your AC refrigerant lives inside a sealed system. It isn't used up over time the way oil or fuel is. So if your AC has gradually gone from cold to warm over weeks or months, that almost always means one thing: you have a leak somewhere in that sealed system. The right answer is to find and fix that leak, not to keep blindly pumping in more gas and hoping it holds. This is exactly where those cheap DIY top-up cans with a little pressure gauge get people in trouble. I want to be direct here. First, that gauge only reads pressure, not how much refrigerant is actually in the system. The correct charge is measured by weight down to the gram, and it's dangerously easy to overcharge a system using one of those cans. Overcharging is precisely what damages a compressor, the exact repair you were trying to avoid in the first place. Second, simply topping it up ignores the leak that caused the problem. The gas escapes again, and you're right back where you started, money spent for nothing. And third, this is the one that matters most. Modern cars use a refrigerant called R1234YF. Older cars use R134A. These are not interchangeable, and that's not an accident. The fittings on each system are physically built different sizes, specifically to stop the wrong refrigerant from going in. Putting the older, cheaper gas into a system designed for the new one is illegal in a lot of places, voids your warranty, and can damage the system outright. If someone's selling you an adapter to get around that fitting, walk away from it. That mismatch isn't a flaw in the design, it's there on purpose. So here's the honest tip. If your AC is low, treat it as a leak that needs diagnosing, not a tank that needs filling. A professional can find the leak, fix it, vacuum the system properly, and recharge it by weight with the correct refrigerant for your car. That's the one part of all this I genuinely tell people to leave to a shop, and knowing that protects you from the most expensive mistake in this whole topic. Now, the 2 things you should never do. Never do number 1. Don't leave your AC switched off for months at a time to save fuel. The system needs to circulate now and then to keep its internal seals lubricated. Leave it idle through an entire winter, and those seals can dry out, leading to leaks and compressor failure down the road. The fix is free run your AC for 5 or 10 minutes every week or 2 all year round, even in winter. Never do number 2, and this one ties straight back to what we just covered. Never force the wrong refrigerant into a low system, and never blindly overcharge it with a can. That single habit is the most common way people turn a small, cheap leak into a wrecked compressor and a bill running well over $1,000. If it's low, it's leaking. Get it found and fixed properly. That restraint protects the most expensive part of the entire system. My own truck has been on the original compressor for over a decade now. I've never once topped it up with a can. Every time something felt off, I found the leak and fixed it. That's not luck, that's just refusing to do the thing I spent 20 years pulling other people's wrecked compressors out for. How many of these were you already doing without even thinking about it? Drop a comment and tell me I read every one of them. If this saved you even one trip to the shop, subscribing to CoreCar is worth it. Every video here is built to keep more money in your pocket, not less. But before you go, there's one more thing most drivers get completely wrong, and it's quietly costing you at every single fill-up. CoreCar's next video covers it. It's right here. Don't miss it.